What's up guys, Garrett with self.dev. Today we are going to go over how to remove items from an array in JavaScript. We've got a little code pin here set up, so if you want to see the end result of this, look in the description. I'll have a way you can get to this code pin and play around with it if you'd like to. But let's get going. We are going to talk about two methods to remove items today. The first is using index of and splice, and the other is using filter. So our first array here, array 1, we just got a few colors, red, blue, green, and pink. Now let's say we want to remove green. Now hopefully you know that arrays have indexes. So the index of the first one here is 0. This is the first item and the index is 0. This is the second item, so the index of this is 1. This is the third item, so the index of this is 2. And this is the fourth item, so the index of this is 3. Because in JavaScript, arrays start at index 0, not at index 1. So for the sake of argument, we're going to say we have a really long array and we don't know the index of the item we want to remove. We just know what item we want to remove. So we're going to remove green, but we don't know the index because it's a really long array. How do we get the index? Well, we'll say arrone dot index of green, and we need to wrap that in single quotes. And now this is going to get the index of green in our array. Now we can easily just say 0, 1, 2, so we know it's index 2, but again, we're going to pretend there's hundreds of items in this array and we don't know the exact index, so we have to use this to get it. Now if we console log this here, move that, and open up our console, we can see that this, can you stretch out? No, you don't want to stretch out? There you go. We can see that we get the number 2, so the index of green is 2. So we've identified the index of what we want to remove. Now how do we actually remove it? We're going to say r1.splice. And splice gets 2 arguments. The first is the index of the item we want to remove. So 2, because the item we want to remove is at index 2. And we could actually just store this in a variable. So we'll say const index to remove, and then we'll give it index to remove. And then the next is the number of things you want to remove at that index. We're gonna go ahead and minimize this because that is throwing out stuff every time we make a change and might get distracting, but we just want to remove one item for now. So we're just going to use the number 1. So what this is going to do is say, hey, go to index 2, so 0, 1, 2, and remove one item from there. So it's going to just remove green. We're going to leave that there, and then we're going to console log R1. And then if we open up the console here, we can see that the array now only has red, blue, and pink. Now, important thing to note, this does mutate the original array. So we did not have to store this in a new variable. We didn't have to say const new array and store the result in a new array. If we store the output of this, it's actually just going to output green. But that's an important thing to note, that this does mutate the original array. So if you need a copy of the original array, you'd probably want to make a copy, or if you're still going to need everything in the original array, you'd probably want to make a copy of it and then splice out of that copy. Now just to show that we can remove multiple items, if we change this to a 2, now it's going to go to index 2. And then remove 2 items from there, so green and pink. And if we open this up, we can see that all that is there now is red and blue. So that is the first way to remove items. I'm gonna go ahead and comment this out so that is not doing anything while we're working on our second part. The second way to get items out of an array is with filter. And this is for, you can use it for single items. I'd probably go with this method if you're trying to remove a single item. But if you're trying to remove multiple items, filter is a great way to do that. So the way this works, we're going to say r2.filter. And again, anything you use with a dot like this, it's a function, but when we're using it like this, it's called a method. So we're calling the filter method on the array. And this is going to take a we're just going to use a variable in for number, make an arrow function, and then we'll add the little braces here. I guess we can throw in the stuff we need here just to make it less confusing. So what filter is going to do, you're going to put some conditional statement here. So you're going to test some kind of condition, like maybe the number is even, maybe the number is odd, and then it's going to return true or false. So we can say in equals 2, just to keep it simple for now. So now what this is going to do, it's going to run through for every number. So the first time it goes through, in is going to be 1. It's going to say, okay, does 1 equal 2? No, it does not. So that's going to be false, and it's not going to return 1. It's going to go to 2. So 2 is 2 equal to 2? Yes, it is. So it will return true for 2. It will return 2. Then it'll go to 6. It would put 6 in there. It would say, is 6 equal to 2? It's not, so it would not return 6, and so on and so forth until it gets through our whole array. So because 2 is the only one that it's going to return true on, this would create a new array that only has the number 2 in it. Now that's an important thing to note. This does create a new array, so you do need to store this in a variable. So now if we console log new array, all we should see inside of that is the number 2. And we forgot to put the, did I not spell this right? No, we need to return that. There we go, cool. There we go, so now our array only has the number 2. If you want to write this function cleaner, in my opinion, you don't have to use this or the parentheses around there. I like this better because arrow functions have an implicit return. So if you don't include anything else, they're just going to return the value here. And then anyway, you can see that it is only returning the number 2 because 2 is the only thing in this array that equals 2. So that is one way to test it. Let's say we just want to make a new array with all of the even numbers in it. So with that, we could just do in modulo 2 equals 0. So now it'll give us an array of all of the even numbers. So it says, if you don't know what the modulo operator is, it basically gets the remainder of the number. So 1 divided by 2, there's a 1 remainder kind of. That's not equal to 0, so that's false. 2 divided by 2, or 2 modulo 2, there's no remainder because 2 evenly goes into 2, so there's no remainder, ergo it equals 0, and it's even. So that is the second way to remove items from an array. Hopefully you learned something from this. If you did, give me a thumbs up so YouTube knows I'm doing good stuff, and I will continue to make more educational videos like this. If you want to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on the content I'm putting out, that would be much appreciated and awesome. I'm probably going to do a JavaScript course by the end of the year. I don't know when it's going to be out, but if you want to look in the description, go get my resume template. That puts you on a mailing list. One, you get my resume template, the one I was using to get my first developer job, and then 2, you'll be on the list that gets notified about when new courses come out. So there's that. If you can hop in Discord or join the SelfTaughtDev subreddit, links to those are both in the description as well. I'm gonna start doing resume reviews again, so if you wanna shoot your resume over, I will give you some feedback on it. Might be in a video, depending on how much feedback I have. So just note that. But I think that's about it for this one, guys, so I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.